Hey, this is Emily
And Ashley.
from Full Body Frights,
And today, Emily will be talking about the unsolved murder mystery of Cindy James.
and Ashley will be discussing the 1992 horror movie Candyman featuring Virginia Madsen and Tony Todd. So let's get into it. Okay, so in June of 1989, in Vancouver, British Columbia, in Canada, a body was found lying in the yard of an abandoned house. It was 44-year-old nurse named Cindy James. She had been drugged and strangled, and her hands and feet had been tied behind her back. So, this story is crazy because they have determined that they do not know how she died when it seems at first so obvious that it was a murder, especially when you get the story behind it. And a lot of people think that she was doing this to herself. So let's get into the background of the story. Cindy James, like I said, she was a 44-year-old nurse. She had graduated from nursing school in 1966, and she had also been married during this time, but the relationship ended in July of 1982. So at this point, a few months after the divorce, she started getting these weird phone calls, and they were threatening, and or they would just be breathing, and it was really creeping her out. So this is the first thing that happened to her in a string of instances.
Okay, so when did the letters start?
Well, the calls started first, and during the next 7 years, so I don't know at what point the letters started coming, but around the same time. For the next 7 years, she reported nearly 100 incidents of harassment, and that included, like, she was getting these creepy letters, which we'll put on our Instagram, which we'll be giving you the name of it later. And her husband even received this weird voicemail, which you can listen to on her sister's website, Melanie Hack. And she was violently attacked 5 times over that time period. A lot of times she was found by a neighbor or on the side of the road with like a stocking around her neck. One time she was found with a stocking around her neck and a knife through her hand with a note. And all of this sounds like she's being harassed,
Right.
but she goes to the police, and the police do investigate for a long period of time, and spent, I think at some point, it was the most money they'd ever spent on any investigation in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. So after a while, they started thinking maybe she was doing it to herself, because they noticed that when they were staked outside of her house, nothing would happen. And what I would say about that is, I mean, if you're stalking someone and you're really good at it, you're not going to know. Or you're going to know when the police are there, and you're not going to do it then. Right? I mean...
Well, see, and that what makes me think that maybe it was someone on the police force or had ties to a scanner or something that knew when the police were going to be there staking out.
Well, I know that she had a relationship with someone on the police force for an extended amount of time, which some people have questions about. Maybe that had something to do with it. But she eventually hired a private investigator that would also kind of look after her. And this was after her neighbors had come and spent the night, and I think they set like her basement on fire. But in like the break-in in the basement window. It was broken outwards, like someone had been inside and broke out, which was another reason they started thinking that maybe this was all just to get attention and stuff.
Right.
So then she hired a private investigator. His name was Ozzy. I can't remember his last name right now, but his name was Ozzy. And what is it? Anyway, so he started kind of, trying to find some stuff out. And on the January 30th of 84, he heard strange sounds coming over a two-way radio he had given her and went straight to her house. This is when she was found with the knife in her hand with a note.
In the hallway.
Yeah.
Okay.
She didn't know what's going on. She was taken to the hospital and she recalled a needle going into her arm, but the police never took fingerprints from a suspect and there was no independent corroboration. So, at this time, she would sometimes have people, like police officers, that were like kind of bodyguarding her and nothing would happen. But then again, I just think that obviously, like when they know you're being, like people are surveying your house, like they're not going to come around and harass you probably.
Right.
But she did tell her parents that they knew something was going on, and they would ask her, and she was afraid that these people would kill her family if she talked about it. Then a little bit before her death, they committed her, or her doctor committed her to a psychiatric ward. Because she was she was really depressed at this point because she's been harassed for 7 years and dead cats put in her yard and stuff like that. So, Cindy Jane. Okay, so Cindy was in the hospital for about 10 weeks, and when she came home, she apparently told her dad that she did know more than she was saying, and she was going to go after the perpetrator for herself. So then, right after that, she disappeared on May 25th, 1989. This is 6 years and 7 months after the first threatening phone call. So this has been like almost a decade. Her car was found in a parking lot. There were her groceries, and there was blood on the driver's side door. So I feel like that's another indication that it's not a suicide, because who goes and buys groceries and then commits suicide? Like, what do you need the food for? So.
Right. So, okay, go ahead.
So, 2 weeks after she went missing, they found her car. The body of Cindy James was found at an abandoned house, like outside of an abandoned house. It looked like she had been brutally murdered. Her hands and feet were bound together behind her back, so she was hogtied. A black nylon stocking was tied tightly around her neck. However, the autopsy showed that she did not die from strangulation. She died from an injection of morphine into her arm. So she was hogtied, and she was injected with a really heavy drug. And people that think she committed suicide think that she tied a rope, or like a nylon pantyhose around her head. She injected herself with morphine, and then she had time to hogtie herself, that's when you tie your arms and legs behind your back. So they think that she would have had time to do it. I feel like you would be feeling the morphine before you could do that.
Well, didn't they bring in an expert and said that she could have done that?
Yeah, later on they I guess they had some kind of trial to determine whether or not she was murdered or it was a suicide. It came out to be undetermined. No one could decide. There was a jury, they couldn't decide. Because they did have a guy that came in as a witness, an expert witness, and he was an expert knotter. He was a knot at making experts. He was an expert at tying knots, and he said there was a doctor that said about how much time it would take before she was completely incapacitated from injecting this in her arm, because it's different than taking it in pill form. Mm-hmm. So he said you had this amount of time, and the knot expert was not allowed. He was able to tie the knots in that amount of time. However, she was not a knot expert. So,
well, did he demonstrate for them how to do it? So, But he didn't have any drugs in his system. So
no, he didn't have any drugs in his system that were even hitting him. But they were like, they had someone tell him about how long he had before he was, if you inject morphine, about how long he would have until he started feeling it. And he was going to see if he could tie the knots in that amount of time.
Well, how do they even know that it really took it that long for her to feel
They don't.
the effects?
They wouldn't know. And also, he's a knot expert. She's not. Like, of course, he would be able to tie a knot. That's if you're an expert, isn't it like your job or something? I mean, like, he probably does it as. Clearly, he's going into court and talking about it, so he does it for a living.
Yeah.
I don't think she was sitting there like hog tying herself every night, like practicing for the big day when she buys groceries for herself and then kills herself. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Like, who would want to waste money on groceries if they know they're
gonna... What are you gonna? Who are you feeding? Like, you think you're gonna, like, your ghost is gonna come up and be hungry? I mean, like, no.
And they were left in her car for 2 weeks before they even found her. So,
well, they probably took them out of the car, I would assume. Well, they found her 2 weeks after they found the car.
Oh,
so
okay.
They probably like took them out. I mean, and did put them in some kind of evidence. I don't know.
I thought they found her and the car 2 weeks later.
No, they found the car and then they found her 2 weeks later.
And they did. So she initially wasn't killed at the site. Her body was dumped there.
Yeah. Or they could have taken her there and done it. I mean, whoever did it. Or she could have done it to herself.
But she was found in a ditch. I don't really see her. I don't really see someone committing that type of crime out in the open.
Well, it was like kind of out. Like, you couldn't have seen it from the...
Well, I'm just saying because it's like outside, like you know, anybody at any given time.
It just doesn't make sense to go that far out to kill yourself. I mean, like, what does she care that they now know she was depressed and she killed herself? If that was what was happening, why wouldn't she just do it normally? Why would she, like, go through the trouble of injecting herself with morphine, which she could have not OD'd on, and then hogtied herself and just, like, lay there for 2 weeks? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
If you're going to commit suicide with the injection of morphine, okay, and then take a next step and hogtie yourself.
Oh, and also, like, wrap the nylon around your neck too, like, and also, like, so what if she did, like, she did die, I think, pretty fast. She overdosed, but what if she hadn't and she was just laying there for 2 weeks? I mean, I think a killer would have, like, made sure she was dead.
Well, and, you know, with them doing an autopsy, they could really determine her time of death if it was like well, of course, it was almost like...
Well, it's hard after 2 weeks.
Yeah, but they could also determine if she was tortured. I know that... I don't really want to get into all the forensic and all of that crap, but I do know that they can do an autopsy and figure out if she was tortured, if she had blunt force trauma.
I don't think she did. There wasn't any of that. Really. But it just it looked like she was strangled at first because of the nylon. That's what you would assume. And she probably was, like, there were probably bruises on her neck and stuff. But then they found out later that it was because they found the needles around her body and stuff. It just doesn't. What I think is that her ex-husband was a doctor, and he apparently, in one of the books I read about her, he was a he would go overseas and do some work, and some of the work was not, like, there were things going on around them that aren't the most legal things in the world. Like, I think she saw something on that trip. I don't think her husband did it, or her ex-husband, but I think that she saw something that she wasn't supposed to see, and they harassed her and stalked her and killed her eventually.
Well, see, I initially thought it was her husband because of that fact that she did see something and he was like, oh, I have to hush her up. And then some folks think, oh, she was doing it to herself because he got that voicemail.
And the voicemail does sound, I mean, there are things, I would highly recommend the 2 paperback books that have come out, but they're really hard to find. So the husband got these voicemails that you can listen to on her sister's website, Melanie Hack. If you look up her in Google, Melanie Hack and Cindy James, it'll come up. But there are examples of the letters that she received, and also this one voicemail that was left on her ex-husband's voicemail that says Cindy dead meat soon, and it's really creepy, but it does sound like a woman trying to sound like a man. So that's another thing that went towards them thinking that she was doing it to herself. There are a lot of things that lean towards her doing it to herself. That's like, because I remember reading those books and not the whole time I was like going back and forth, like, but that, yeah, I mean, like, all in all, it doesn't make sense that she would commit suicide, but like, there are definitely some like really weird things about it that I can see why people were like not believing her.
Well, I was thinking that my theory is maybe Cindy did leave him that voicemail trying to scare him, because she's thinking it's her ex-husband as well, and she's like, okay, he's going to scare me, so let me scare him, type of deal.
It could be. And you know what? I don't know what the time period was that voicemail was received. But I don't think that I think that it, for some reason, I think it was at a point that they didn't have a bad relationship. So, and I do think they still talked and stuff. But, you know, that's not even her real name, because she had it changed when she painted her house, and she moved and she painted her car. Mm-hmm. Like, this woman, like, I feel like, honestly, after 7 years, I would hope that they would go ahead and just kill me, or like, commit suicide, because, I mean, the stuff they did to her were, like, or even if she was doing it to herself, I wouldn't want to live like that for 7 years. Like, harassing myself. Like,
I really don't see someone doing that to themselves for 7 years.
But it's also kind of hard to believe that someone would do that to someone for 7 years. You know, why not just kill her? Because that's going really extreme. Like, you're spending your whole life.
Well, they did what they accomplished to make her seem crazy, and I think that's what they were doing, is trying to make her seem crazy.
It just seems like an odd an odd and long way to go about something. Like, you could scare her to death by doing it for 1 year. I mean, 7 years is a long time to be operating that way.
They apparently had all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what his job was, or her job.
Probably just that. They probably like had a hit list, and
someone was paying them to do the job. If it was probably, like if she saw something or something like that in Mexico, then there are people that will pay someone to stalk someone for 7 years. I mean, it's probably a pretty cushy job. Like, I mean, because he didn't have to do anything like every single night. Yeah. I mean, over 7 years, she was only brutally attacked 5 times. So, I mean,
yeah, they were probably like, they're probably like, we need some action, like, do something.
Like, every once in a while. Yeah. I mean, you just have to call someone a couple times a week and breathe, and then you just gotta attack them 5 times. But you know, okay, they did leave cat. I say he. Could have been a she. It probably was with that voicemail, but whoever it was, left dead cats in her. I think they were her cats that they like killed and left in her yard. Mm-hmm. That part, no, you can't pay me to do that. But I mean, maybe like just harass someone for 7 years. Like, they probably made pretty good money. That,
yeah, not a 9 to 5.
But then again, at the end, you know, there's death and bodily harm. So
yeah, we do have to take that into consideration.
I guess I wouldn't do it now that I think about it. But maybe I would do some of the harassment, like for like about $10,000 a day for you paying me to call somebody. I don't care.
For 7 years, yeah. Like, just breathe in the phone.
Like, yeah, I'll do that. Like,
yeah. I mean, you know, in 2020, we can't get away with that.
Well, maybe. People are calling me all the time. I don't know who they are.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that you could figure it out if you really wanted to. We could figure that out. The police could figure that out.
I probably wouldn't worry about. I mean, if someone was just calling and breathing, I don't think I'd call. I don't think I'd investigate it. I'd be like, okay, you're annoying, and just block their number.
Yeah, because everyone has that function now, but. You know, after so long, I'll probably just start breathing back. Like, this is fun.
What's up? Okay, so, you have anything else you want to say about Cindy James? I think we've pretty much...
Yeah, we pretty much covered it.
Yeah, so... Okay, so we'll be moving on to 1992's Candyman. That's the movie that Ashley's going to be talking about. So, go for it.
Okay, so I know most of you have seen it, but here's a quick summary from IMDb. Okay, so the Candyman, a murderous soul with a hook for a hand, is accidentally summoned to reality by a skeptic grad student researching the monster's myth. Okay, so the first movie.
So you want to say your review first?
Yeah. No, I wasn't. I was going to talk about.
Yeah, I heard you clearly. No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, because I initially got the first and second movie mixed up, but for clarification, the first movie is about this woman who obviously is a grad student or whatever, and she goes to what is the name of the place again?
Cabrini Green Projects.
Yeah, I cannot say that.
She's studying like urban legends.
Yeah, but for some reason I cannot say that name. It always comes out messed up.
Cabrini Green.
Cabrini Green. Okay, so she goes to the projects and she's over here trying to figure out some information about Candyman, and then she accidentally sends him. And he goes around and starts killing people and basically framing her for the murders. That's basically the movie.
Does she summon him? She summons him at the beginning. She has her friend that's like working with her over, right? Mm-hmm. And she does it in the bathroom like that night, and then the next day is when all the stuff starts happening, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and just little things just start happening. But she thinks she's basically losing her mind. But the first time she initially meets him is in the garage.
Oh,
remember?
God, creepy.
And yes. He says her name, and then his voice, like,
it's you're either thinking it's sexy or creepy, because it does have a sexy. Listen, I'm telling you, he's a good guy in the remake of Out of the Living Dead, and he sounds sexy.
No, like I can't even, like, in Final Destination when he talks, it creeps me out. I hear his voice and like I get chills and I start freaking out and like my anxiety goes up. There's something about that man's voice that freaks me out.
Yeah, that's some kind of past trauma or something, because I don't get it. I mean, it's creepy in the context of the movie. Yeah. I
mean, I was 6 when I first watched
the movie, that's probably what it was.
And I mean, in Candyman set the epitome for me to love horror movies.
It really? It was the one?
Yeah, Candyman.
So you saw it before Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah.
Huh, okay. Because I don't think I would have been as big of a horror fan if I had seen this first.
I was 6.
I know, but I saw The Exorcist when I was like 6.
I mean, The Exorcist sucked.
But you were not 6 when you saw it.
True.
That's okay, like that's... like when you're like 6 or 7 and you see that, you're like, what the hell? Well, or like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I saw that like really young, and like I Spit on Your Grave, and I don't know what my dad was thinking. Let me rent those, but okay.
I mean, what was my mom thinking? Let me watch that at 6, like any horror movie like that. I mean, it terrified me.
My dad liked it. He wanted like he would say things about even just like dramas that were like had a lot of cussing. River's Edge was one of them. He would get me to watch them by being like, they cuss a lot. I don't think I should let you watch this. And then, of course, I'd want to watch it. So that's how he got me to do it, by lying to me.
You know, my mom didn't have any reservations at all. And
no,
I was Candyman, oh, it's going to be about candy. And then, like, I remember
she for real thought that?
No, but that's what I was thinking.
Oh.
And then, like, because I remember being in her bedroom, and then she was like, okay.
Cool, let's have fun.
And then, like, I didn't leave her bed. Like, I came back in there, and I was like, I'm scared.
No, my mom wouldn't watch them. She's too afraid. Like, the changeling scared her, so it's... Okay.
I don't even remember that movie, so I'm...
Well, The Haunting also terrified her.
The Haunting, there's like so many...
The original, like, 60s one, yeah. So my dad loves them, so he, like, was always into... But my mom doesn't really care. She's just like, whatever, I don't want to watch it, I'll just go do something else.
I don't understand the anxiety that comes from horror movies, why people can't do them. I love it. I love that feeling. I love getting scared and getting all worked up and then being let down.
But I told, what we were talking about earlier before we recorded was that I don't like... there are certain types of anxiety in horror movies and in any kind of movie that bother me. Like this, and this is an example, and this is, I think, why I don't really like the movie very much. Because I don't like that she keeps getting... framed for all this stuff. Like, it makes me so anxious through the whole movie. I'm like, oh my god, she didn't do it. And then what'd she get for it? She gets burned like Freddy Krueger. Yeah, she
at least
saved the baby, but I mean, she didn't even know that baby. And she's like, and also now they think she's Candyman. Like, they were not throwing that hook in her grave nicely. They were calling her Candyman.
I felt like they were paying respect to her.
Oh, I didn't at all.
You didn't?
No.
Because she saved the baby. I thought they were...
I don't think they cared. I think they were like, I guess thanks, but also, like, you're Candyman now. Well, because he kind of, like, he passed it over to her when he did the bees coming out of her mouth. Wasn't that kind of like a passing of the torch?
I guess if you want to look at that way.
Because near the end, she's acting, I mean, she's, like, got kind of her wits about her, but she also seems, like, a little bit, like, possessed or, like...
I mean, she went crazy.
Like, not a straight... Well, clearly, yeah. It's kind of like when Will gets possessed in second season of Stranger Things. Like, he doesn't always seem like he's...
Right.
It's like, sometimes you can see a little bit of him left, and then, like, the thing takes over.
Yes.
That's how I kind of feel about
season 2, but whatever. We'll just...
I said season 2. I said season 2.
I heard season 3.
I said season 2. I swear I did. But, okay, so, I kind of talked about what I think about it while you were talking about it. I think the setting of Cabrini Green Projects is probably one of the creepiest sets of any horror movie. I love it. And I usually don't like urban settings in horror movies. I'm not a huge fan of, like, New York and, like, the gritty and the dark and that whole feel. But this really worked. However, I don't think they used it well enough or enough at all. Okay. Because, I mean, they have that bathroom scene that's really creepy, too. That's part of it's like the bathroom in the Cabrini Green Projects. Right. It's just not used enough. And then the whole storyline of no one believing her and she's committing all these horrible murders it makes me super anxious. And I don't get enough Tony Todd in it either. Well, I say that's good. But see, I think it would be creepier and better.
Well, the second one you really do, and the second one really...
But the second one is not very good. I mean, you get the story, but it's like...
You get the backstory, but you also get more of Tony Todd.
You do. So, I mean... I was about to say maybe he's no good because he's only in really small roles in movies and when they're good, but he is good in the remake of Night of the Living Dead. So, Tony Todd, I love you, and I don't think you've ever done it like Ken Foray. I mean, he's in every movie. He's in every damn movie ever. It's just like he has to be in a movie. It's like, why are you in every movie, Ken? Okay, like Dawn of the Dead, it was really good. You don't have to be in every movie. Anyway, whatever.
Just a little bit there. Huh?
You'll hear more about that later. Not tonight, but another podcast when we do Dawn of the Dead. But so yeah, I will watch it. I'm okay with watching it every couple of years, but it's not a movie that I find rewatchable. There are not a whole lot of movies that I think are totally like really rewatchable. Like,
well, I mean...
You got the Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street 1, 3, and 4. The Shining's rewatchable. Those kind of have...
The original Shining.
I mean, all the Friday the 13th have really good rewatchability. Well, the first 7.
That's questionable.
The first 7.
That's questionable.
Well, not to me.
That's questionable.
But, I mean, this movie doesn't have rewatchability for me. There's definitely... It's well directed. The cinematography is really great. There are really creepy moments. There's really good, like, setting, but something just, it doesn't click with me.
Well, maybe if you watched it at night by yourself, because when you watched it, we talked.
Well, that's not going to scare me, though. Until Mystery scares me.
Because that's, like, real.
Yeah, exactly. But, I don't know. There's something that, I think there's an element of fun that I like in my movies, because I'm really big into 80s slashers. Mm-hmm. There's, like, an element of fun that I really like to have in a horror movie, and it's not there at all.
Okay, so you have mine is... I think the reason why I really like it is because of the psychological part of it.
But I think other movies do that better. Like Session 9 is
this was in the 90s. Come on,
but now. I mean, for the set, well, that means it should have been better.
No, they were still working out the kinks.
Jacob's Ladder was a great psychological.
The original one you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. And then Session 9 came out later with a equally creepy setting, the abandoned insane asylum. And
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's real creepy. You should see it. You'd like it. It's psychological.
That's what I like in my horror movies, is the psychological ones. I like the movies that really get into people's head because, you know.
And see, I like ones where they go to camp and have sex and, like, do dumb things, and there's, like, really horrible dialogue for me to laugh at, and they're, like, over-the-top murders, and then it's over. Like,
I mean, who doesn't love the campy 80 horrors? Like,
well, a lot of people, but, I mean,
really?
I dig pretty deep into the bowels of crappy 80s horror, though.
Yeah, because you do know a whole lot about
the really bad ones,
Yeah.
So, why don't we move on to, do you want to do some, like, fun facts about Candyman?
Yeah, well, I have one. Vanessa Williams, the mother of the
baby.
Not
Vanessa Williams, the singer.
Yes, not Vanessa Williams, the singer. That's what I was going to point out. She is the mother of the baby that was kidnapped by Candyman.
Yeah, and she's not the singer.
Yeah, because she was like, oh, Vanessa Williams.
Ashley told me that when we were watching. I was like, that is not Vanessa Williams, girl. Like, what? Did she get a face transplant? Like,
it's a different one. She's been in other movies too, but I'm not really too sure if she's been in horror movies. But I know that she was in what is that movie? Big Mama.
Big Mama's House.
Is that what it is? Where the mom?
Martin Lawrence.
No. It's, I can't think of it. Boyz II Men sang the song for it. Oh my god, it was a good song. The Big Mama died. They called her Big Mama and she died. But anyways, Vanessa Williams was in that.
I don't know. We'll look it up. We'll tell y'all later. I'm like,
you're
Dr. Dolittle. Like, wait, what was the Eddie Murphy one where he wore a fat suit?
No, what, the Clumps or something like that.
Yeah,
it was Clumps
like
or something like that.
It's not Medea, is it?
Medea?
Medea.
Oh my god, Emily. Wow.
Sorry, I'm like, I just don't understand how you make that many movies about that. I don't know.
What about
an old man, a man dressed as an old woman making jokes?
I mean, I guess
I probably would like it if I watched it. I don't know. Clearly, I don't even know how to say her name. So.
What, the movie I'm talking about?
No, I couldn't say Medea.
Oh, you've never seen it?
No, I've never seen any of them.
Oh, I
knew as soon as it came out of my mouth that it was Medea, and I was like, oh, yep, I'm about to say this wrong. But while you're looking that up, I was going to talk about the bees.
Oh, okay, yeah,
yeah. So there are a lot of bees in this movie, and they're used really well. And so, like, a lot of people ask if those were real bees. So, they were. Apparently, Tony Todd was stung by bees 23 times during the space of the Candyman trilogy. So, in all three, he was stung that many times.
Okay.
Yeah. But the bees were bred specifically for this movie.
Oh. They
needed to make sure the bees were only 12 hours old so that they looked like mature bees, but their stinger wouldn't be powerful enough to do any real damage. So, and he negotiated a bonus of $1,000 for every bee sting he suffered during filming. And of this one, well, I guess it still says 23 times, so probably over the course of the three. But IMDb can have some iffy information on him. Like, people just put in random things that they want to say.
Okay, so the movie Vanessa Williams was in Soul Food. I cannot believe...
Soul Food. Okay, I've never seen it, but...
the name.
Okay, let's see. So, another thing with the bees. These bees. Okay, so Virginia Madsen, who is the, main woman, main
character.
Lady. Mm-hmm. Not a hero. Besides the baby, not a hero.
I don't know why you don't think she's a hero.
Because
she took one for the team.
I guess. But she's not your typical final girl, is what I meant to say. Like, she dies. So, usually the girl doesn't die at the end.
Okay.
So she had to get up close and personal with the bees, a fact that almost forced her to pass on the role. So she didn't want to work with the bees. So she had to work with a hypnotist. And at some point, she had a trigger word, I guess, when Candyman showed up. But they had a bee wrangler, and he like told us you can't freak out around the bees or be nervous or swat them. And she talks about them using baby bees on her, so I guess she said they can still sting you, but it's less likely. But she said it felt really weird. So they did use real bees, yeah, which is crazy.
I knew that they used real bees. I just don't, because like I said, the first time I watched it again all the way through was here with Emily. So, because it really did scare the crap out of me. And every time I tried to watch it, I freaked out and had to turn it off.
Listen, Eddie Murphy was originally he was considered for the Candyman role. Can you imagine if that was Eddie Murphy and not Tony Todd?
I wonder if he could have done it.
No, he couldn't have done it.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. I don't think he's only like 5'9" also. Tony Todd's like 6'4", 6'5", like
6 something, yeah.
I wouldn't be afraid of Eddie Murphy walking towards me with a hook. No.
I think I would be scared of anyone with a hook walking towards me.
Yeah, but I mean, Eddie Murphy. Like, so,
well, I do want to say the reason why I did pick this is because I wanted to get over my fear of the movie. And then for two, Candyman is coming back out in 2021.
Oh, yeah, right.
So, and I wanted to...
Do they know who's starring it or anything?
Last I heard, Tony Todd was supposed to be.
Oh, well, I know he's supposed to be in it, but I wonder if there's like...
Vanessa Williams is coming back.
Oh, girl. Hey.
Virginia's coming back.
Oh, okay. Well, is it just a reboot or?
I don't know. It's not. Let's see. Let me go ahead and read for the 2021.
You know, I'm trying to figure out too if Candyman was like, because you were talking about. I think Candyman was not it was based on a short story by Clive Barker, but I'm pretty sure that they got Candyman
from Bloody Mary.
From Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. Yeah, because it says he first appears in the short story The Forbidden by Clive Barker. So yeah, I don't think he existed before 85. So he existed before 92, but only in book form. Okay.
So the producer, which I think I will
for the new one.
Yeah, I think I will like this, and this is another reason why I wanted to watch it is because it's going to be Jordan Peele.
Oh, well, have you seen it develop yet? I haven't, but
no, I haven't.
But I didn't like Us. I liked Get Out a lot.
I like Get Out and Us. His movies really make me think, and then like.
I mean, his first
going down that rabbit hole on Us,
yeah.
I was like going deeper and deeper, and I was like, okay, I get it.
I just hope he doesn't keep doing the same thing because it doesn't seem to be like he's gonna have to change something up with his approach. Because I watched his Twilight Zone show too.
I have not. I want to.
It's
okay. So the new Candyman coming out in 2021. Okay, from IMDb says in present day, a decade after the last of Cabrini Towers were torn down, Anthony and his partner move into a loft in the new gentrified Cabrini. A chance encounter with an old-timer exposes Anthony to the true story behind Candyman. Anxious to use these Massacre details in his studio as a fresh dressed for paintings, he unknowingly opens a door to a complex past that unravels his own sanity and unleashes a terrifying wave of violence.
I wonder how they'll bring Virginia Madsen back.
I don't know.
Maybe as Candyman or like his associate. He has like a power team now.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see, I guess, in 3 years when it actually comes out. Even though it says 2021.
Right. I wonder if they even started the movie, because how
they're in pre-production, I'm sure. I bet it won't come out in 2021.
With everything that's going on, who knows? I mean, there is supposed to be a trailer for it. I don't know if this is an old trailer.
It's probably a teaser. Because with Terrifier, it was supposed to come out this month, and they had a whole trailer that was clearly the whole movie had been filmed, and they're having to push it back, I think. So I don't know, but anyway, so that concludes our first episode of Full Body Frights.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the first movie, Candyman, and I like the second one better because it goes back.
You do like the second one?
Yeah, I like the second one better because it goes back into the origin of how he became Candyman and the reason why.
Well, we'll do that at a future.
Yeah, so that's going to be a later date because I have way more to talk about on that one.
And you have to watch it again. Right?
I don't think I need to because
well,
that is still fresh.
But we watch them before we do the podcast, so we'll watch it again. Yeah, you're going to watch it again. Like, that's part of your research for
okay.
For the show.
You know, Tony Todd, if you do hear this, I'm taking one for the team. Okay, and
Tony Todd, if you're listening, cool. That's random, but also hit us up at Friday. I want to say Friday Night Frights. I don't know why it's not Friday. Well, it is, but not when we're putting it out. So okay,
you forget it.
You can, even if you're not Tony Todd, you can email us at fullbodyfrights@gmail.com with any feedback or questions that you have. You can also visit us on our Facebook page, Scary Movies All Night Long. Mm-hmm. So, and we do really cool things over there. We have trivia contests and we give prize bags out, which, in my opinion, are really good because I put them together. So, and you can also follow our Instagram. It's just Friday Night Frights, all in lower caps. So email
Full Body
us.
Frights.
What?
Full Body Frights.
Did I say Friday Night Frights again?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, it's Full Body Frights, all lower caps. fullbodyfrights@gmail.com. Not Friday. Okay. This is not. I feel like it's like football time. I'm like, no, I don't even like football. But okay, so. We will see you in about 2 weeks.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was going to say thank you for listening, but then I noticed you were going to stop.
Bye, guys.